Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I am super excited to share with you live workshop for segments 3, 4 and 5 of Entrypoint Academia. It's a project that is dear to my heart. It's a project that I've been working on for the past several months. I burned many hours and finally I can publish it. I want just to make a little disclaimer, and that disclaimer is that the presentation, of course, is not in an excellent quality, but the quality of everything that I've done, it's due to the time restraints and energy restraints. I think it's enough to communicate the main information that I want to communicate to you. So, as I said, this is a live workshop for segments 3, 4, and 5. So this means that I would like to ask you, prior to watching this video, to check out the video for segment 3, how to perceive learning. Then video number 4, how to perceive earning. And then video number 5, how to perceive money. Because the workshop is about these 3 segments. And also it's live, so what this means is that I'll just free talk. I have a presentation prepared, but I might be talking about some things too long, so please forgive me for that. Listen to it in a speed that's twice as fast to be more productive. And as I said, I want to put it all together because, as you can probably see from the preview window, these 3 segments, they actually tie together. Now, before I get to it, what's important to mention is that Entrypoint Academia is a project that I started after I've been asked by many people about Entrypoint philosophy. Now, people didn't ask me specifically about Entrypoint philosophy, but they asked me about the way, I live life. George, why do you live the way, why do things that you do? And because I didn't want to spend all this time to, repeat myself, I decided that through online videos, I would communicate Entrypoint philosophy to everyone. And the specific thing about Entrypoint philosophy is not that it's important to mention that it's not a religion, it's not a dogma, it's not some strict rules that you have to go by, otherwise you are not good. No, Entrypoint philosophy it's more like filters through which when you look at things in life, you get more information. Or you can get other information which you would, without these filters, not see. And that's why I use these glasses. As a reminder to myself about these filters. And the second one, that Entrypoint philosophy, it works exactly like these glasses because they have a filter that's red. It filters out a certain spectrum of light. And in certain situations, I actually notice things which I would not notice without these glasses. Thus, I can have, better results thanks to these glasses. And Entrypoint philosophy is about having better results in everyday life. And because it's everyday life, I live everyday life every day. Every single now I live. I actually view it through Entrypoint philosophy, and I live Entrypoint, what I call Entrypoint lifestyle. And Entrypoint lifestyle is daily things that you do in order to live in the Entrypoint philosophy mode. And I put it all together under the umbrella of Entrypoint Academia. And I structured Entrypoint philosophy into several segments, which go from the most important one all the way to the least important one. Now, they are all important, but they are so important that if, for example, if you have a bad health, all the other ones that follow will not work because your health is bad. So they are all connected. And for each, I created, or my plan was for each to create a video, which would be divided into 3 parts. Short one, let's say a middle part, and a long part. I guess the short one would be a minute, the middle part would be about 5 minutes, and the long one would be, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes. And for each, I would communicate it through the lenses of Entrypoint philosophy. And so far, I have done the first 5 segments. Now the first 2, they are extremely interconnected. And when I started working on the 3rd one, I realized that it's interconnected to the 4th and the 5th. And you can see these on my channel with these review windows. So also just a quick overview. So the first one is how we perceive or how to perceive reality. And it has a lot of cool things, but in the end, I would say that the main things are that this segment is about how to be at peace with everything that happens in your life. And the second one is how to be in a state of mind that in every single situation in life, you always choose what's best for you. Yeah, so check it out. Then, of course, even though you're mentally fine and you understand how to perceive reality, if you have bad health, you will not be able to really work and function. And for this is the second segment where for me was about how to, when I started perceiving health through the lenses of Entrypoint Academia, it led me to finding a cure for or prevention for cancer. And I actually did a video about it over here. And before I published the video, I made sure that I checked everything with Jocelyn Tan, world-renowned oncologist, who confirmed every single thing I mentioned in this video, how to fight cancer. And then years later, I listened to an interview with Mark Levin on the Lex Fridman podcast, where everything I talked about in these videos, how cells work, he confirmed. So also, check it out because it's very interesting from a health point of view, because it's great to be always healthy. And for this, I also published a video about the lifestyle that I live, how I apply the health principles mentioned in the previous videos in everyday life. And part of it is also not only what you eat, but it's also exercising. And I started doing this year a routine that I do every day, and I've been doing it since the middle of February. So every day I work out at home. I just do simple calisthenics exercise. And I started doing Instagram profile where I publish what I look like. And so this is what I look like now. This is what I look after my let's say 60 days of not eating. This is what I look like when I ran every day and worked out every day. This is how I used to work out, or used to look like when I didn't do anything, when I was just eating. This is what I look between water fasts. And now I look like this when I work out every day. So check it out also. And now let's move on to the important thing, which is today's workshop about segments 3, 4, and 5. And you can already see from the preview window how they all interconnect and what it brought up. Now, when I finished, when I put together the segments, what's very interesting is that Entrypoint philosophy, it's very universal. Now, when I say that it's very universal, it has a quality that whatever I say to you today, it's perfectly valid. And I would say it basically the same way to someone living 200,000 years ago. Because, for example, let's take Christianity. So for someone living 200,000 years ago, the information that 200,000 years from now, all the whole biblical story and Christianity will happen, it will actually have no effect on his life because it's happening so far in the future. So it's not that universal. Now, what's really universal about Entrypoint philosophy is that if you take that it's not only universal across time for humans, but it's also universal for any living creature on this planet. Because this living creature, in order to survive, first thing, that creature in a limited form has to understand the reality around him. Now, when I say understand the reality, it needs to have a model of reality around him that even though the model is wrong, so for example, if you take bees or if you take dogs, they know nothing about general theory of relativity or quantum mechanics. Their model is probably not how it really is, but their model is good enough to help them comfortably survive. So that's from the point of view of how they view reality. They view it through a filter that helps them to survive. If they have a filter that is not in sync with the reality, it will not help them at all, and it will actually lead them into dying. So the first one is segment 1, how you perceive reality. That's universal across time and all the species. The second one is, okay, he has the functioning model, but he has to be able to operate the hardware, the body. And that's called health. Not only to know how to operate it, but not to damage it, and for it to be healthy. So that's segment number two. And then segment number 3, that's the most important thing that's universal across time and across all species, which is you have to learn a skill that you can apply in the reality around you. Now, when you say this, at first, it's like, yeah, you have to learn things, you have to apply in the reality around you. Yeah, but it's such a deep meaning, because it's actually the most important skill that you can learn right now. Because we live in a completely unique time in human history. In the past, you always had the same reality. Nothing changed. The same reality. And in this reality, you had the human who could do the same thing that his father, his grandfather did, because the reality was not changing. So if they were fishermen, father was fisherman, the kids were fishermen, the grandfather was fisherman, they were just fishing and fishing and fishing, and they could be fishing and fishing and fishing their whole lives because the reality was not changing, and the demand for the fish and the way they were providing it was always the same. Now, this has transferred into into a model where we had that you gain education, let's say till you're 20, 25, 30 years old, and then what you learn, you apply in the reality that is not really changing. So education was that you were getting more information about the reality, and then after you finished the education, you applied it and used it in the reality. However, what started happening, and it's happening now like even more and more, is that the reality has started changing so fast that in the end, what you learned in school, by the time you learned it and you came out of school, the information that you had learned was already obsolete. Because the process of, because the way you should view education is that everyday life, like earning money in everyday life, that's like going to war, where you fight. So you have to analyze the terrain, the weapons that are being used, and education is how you prepare new soldiers for war. So you have to analyze what's being, what weapons are being used, and that's what you teach your students, so that when they finish education and they become citizens, they are ready for the current battlefield. But if you look around in the world, you see that the feeling is that whatever you learn if you use the analogy from wars that in fact it's in a different way, and that way is that on the battlefield everyone is fighting with guns, but in the school they teach us how to use bow and arrow. And one of the problems is that I don't know if the solution, to come up with the solution, is very hard, because you need someone who constantly watches the battlefield. They have to notice where the technologies are going. Then they have to analyze if it's a technology that will be here forever, or if it's just a short-term one. And if it's the one that's long-term, they immediately have to realize how to implement it into the educational system, which is also really hard, because you have to come up with ways how to teach this concrete weapon to the students. Now, with this analogy, and when looking at today's world, you realize that it's almost impossible to keep up with the reality. Therefore, the most important thing that school can teach you, and it's the most important skill after how to perceive reality and how to perceive health, and that's how to perceive learning. Because the most important skill today, in this fast-changing reality, where from one day to the other you can be fired, your company can go out of business, complete industry sectors can just be annihilated. So in this reality, but the most important skill is how to learn the technique of how to learn a new skill fast on a level that you can apply it in everyday life. Now, this is the most important skill, but it's completely natural, because in nature, if you don't learn how to walk, you will be eaten very fast by someone. So you really have to learn how to learn something fast. And this is what the third segment was going to be about. How to learn something fast. Because that's the most important skill. Now, when I was preparing the video, initially, and when I started preparing the video, I mean, when I was aware that the third segment was about how to perceive learning, this is about 2-3 years ago, then I always thought that I would say the technique how to learn is the most important one, and then the video would continue with me demonstrating various techniques how to learn something fast. So then, when I started working on this third segment, I realized that the issue is way more complicated, and that from this complication, I came up with various insights that actually help to learn something fast without learning any techniques. Now, when you say, let's learn something fast, it's at the first thought, it's like you comprehend, you understand that sentence right away. Someone wants you to learn something, okay. Play guitar, sing a song, draw, some sporting thing, whatever. But when I started working on it, a lot of questions came up, which actually showed me that the issue is way more complicated than that. Because the first question is, what are you going to learn? What are you going to learn? Like, should I learn how to play guitar? Or should I learn how to properly exercise every day? Should I learn how to play chess? Should I learn how to speak a language? Should I learn how to use a new application? What should I learn? Now, immediately, you think to yourself, so why do you want to learn this skill? And because, for example, with guitar, I always like the instrument, and I think it sounds nice. I would like to learn it. Or someone says, I like this country, I would like to learn their language. Or someone says, you know what, I feel that everyone speaks English or understands English around me in the field where I'm located at my work. And I think that I should also learn this skill because somehow everyone thinks that it's a common knowledge that everyone knows basic English and I don't. So I would like to learn English. Now, so you can already see that not only, you have the, what to learn, but all of a sudden you have to think about, the various areas where you are located. So for example, I would really like to play guitar, but right now I feel that for my work, it would be really good that instead that I would spend the time that I would spend on the guitar to learn how to use Microsoft Excel, because it will really help me to work better at work, because right now everyone somehow feels a little bit awkward that I cannot make a simple spreadsheet in Excel. And so you have to identify this skill, right? But even though if you know the right skill, or you really feel that this is something you should and you should learn, then how should you learn it? Now, when I say how should you learn it, I remember a long time ago when I was learning English, or when I even later on taught English, the method of learning a language was usually that you had a textbook where each lesson started with an article. Sometimes you could hear a recording of a native speaker who read the article. Then you had some questions about the article to test your comprehension. Then you had some new vocabulary. And then, you wrote the, let's say, English word, followed by, let's say, in my case, Czech word. Then you learned it, did exercises, and you slowly progress like this. When I say slowly, I think that it took many years for anyone to really learn the language this way. And the reason I'm mentioning it is that later on in my life, I was able to learn spoken Chinese in 3 months on a level that I could really use it in business. And that got me thinking about how important it is to find out the right technique, how to learn something. Because if I was going to learn Chinese through the standard textbooks or standard courses, I think I would not be able to do it in 3 months. And when I say in 3 months, it was half an hour a day. And during this half an hour, I went for a run. So I did 2 things at once, and I learned Chinese enough that I could have a coffee with someone for 1 hour and talk about life, and they would enjoy me talking in Chinese. So the questions got me actually to realize that, it's not about how to learn something fast, but you can way speed up of what you are going to learn by asking the right questions. So we have to choose what we are going to learn. Then we have to find out how we are going to learn it. And then we also have to realize how much we have to learn something. Because I was able to carry out a simple conversation in Mandarin Chinese because I knew, let's say, 50 to 100 really useful phrases and words, and I really mastered them real well, so that I could apply them during the conversation. So even though some things I did not say correctly, the other person was still able to understand what I said. So I would say that my understanding of Mandarin was, for example, 40%, 30%, maybe even 20%. But I really knew those 20%, and with those 20%, I felt that I could do magic. So you have to realize also how much you need to be knowledgeable in that given area in order to use it to meet your needs. And so that's another aspect. And then, of course, another aspect aside from what I want to learn and how I want to learn it. So another aspect is how much time do I have? And not only how much time I have, but in what environments, what time I have. So for example, in not what time I have, but in what state I am in various environments. Like when I drive a car, I can listen to things, I can talk, but I cannot write, for example. So all these questions that came up actually got me thinking that what's way more important than learning the right technique is to really think about, and these questions, they're illustrative questions. You really have to think about of what you want to communicate, what you want to learn, and why you want to learn it. And one thing that has changed over the time that I've been thinking about this subject is that artificial intelligence has came. Now with ChatGPT, you can have all these questions answered by doing a self-assessment test, because we are our perception of our knowledge is skewed by a cognitive bias called Dunning-Kruger effect, where we tend to think that we know so much, where in fact we know so little. And because we feel that we know so much, we keep to overestimate our perception of things, where we should always think to ourselves, yeah, I think it's this way, but there's 95% chance I'm completely wrong. So the good thing about AI is that it can do self-assessment test of you, how you're good in something. And I realized that with AI, and I talk about it in the video with the third segment, that AI can be used for not only doing the self-assessment test, but it can also identify which skills you should be learning based on where you are in life. And when I say when you are in life, and this also goes back to the analogy with the human 200,000 years ago, or with the little puppy, that after they have a model where they are, after their body is fine and fit, they have to learn how to hunt, and they have to do it based on the environment where they wanted to hunt in. So if you go fishing, you need a pond. If there's no pond and there's grass, then you need a different technique for catching something in grass. And the symbol for catching food is money, right? So we have skills, we apply these skills in various environments, and from these environments we generate income. So you have hunting skills, you apply them at various hunting areas, and based on your hunting you get a result. And I should talk about two main ones. This one, and again, I called it the company ladder or job ladder, but it's just it's not exact. It's about the principle, right? So here, it's if you are being employed in a company, and of course, being employed in a company is that you are part of a team that hunts together, and they do very complicated hunting where each team member has a different skill, and together they hunt, and they hunt a big. They are able to hunt for a lot of food, and then they divide the food among in the team, and and we know that within the teams you have various roles, right? So first you have to learn the basic skills so you can do the simple role. Then let's say you become someone who knows everything and people can count on you. Then you become someone who's actually teaching other team members how to hunt together, all the way up to the CEO who leads the pack. And of course, you have this part over here, which is, you can be a freelancer. Your skills for hunting are good enough that by yourself you can survive. And, having a company that's basically you are the expert in putting together hunting teams who hunt. And that's the fourth segment. And all of these segments, all of these areas, they are actually giving you hints of what you should be learning. So if I'm a, employee on a certain level, I should probably be learning things that are required for me to be a level higher. Now, all of these have another dimension, and that's the dimension of how to perceive money. Because from each of these environments, by applying these skills, you get certain results, and these results are representing by income. And in the fifth segment, I talk about financial ladder. But in fact, this financial ladder, and you can see in this picture, could be imagined as a cylinder, because at first, and it goes back to the prehistoric man, the first goal is you have to learn how to catch enough mice, or how to make enough money to cover your basic life needs. So back then, it was enough food to survive for today or for the next few days. And today, it's you have to make enough money to cover your living needs. You have to pay for your rent. You have to pay for the energies. You have to pay for like all the basic stuff, your food. That's the basic stuff, and that's the first level. And then once you have that, you have to also go for your financial reserve. Because just like in the prehistoric ages, once he can catch one mouse every day, if you ask him, so what are you going to do tomorrow or a week from now when there are no mice? Then he says, I will die. Then you tell him, okay. So then when he asks you what to do, you have to tell him you have to learn how to catch enough mice so that you can make a reserve. And that goes back to the, so you have your financial ladder. Now, when you look at it like this, it's actually becoming very complicated, because you can say, when someone says, so, what should I learn? Then I guess the first question should be, do you make enough money that you don't have to, that you have everything covered and you don't have to borrow? And if the person says yes, or whatever they say, so if they say no, then you tell them, okay, you have to learn skills that will move you and help you to generate enough income so that you cover all your needs. Now then, okay, they say, how should I do it? Well, then you have to look at all these areas where you can hunt, where you can apply your skills, and you have to find area either within your current employer or outside, as for example, a freelancer. You can have a part-time weekend work where you can sell skills that will generate you enough income so you can cover your basic needs. And then, of course, the second step is they say, okay, my needs are covered. Then you say, okay, do you have financial reserve? At least, let's say, your monthly cost times 6. Do you have this? No, I don't. Okay, then let's do skills. And let's look at areas where we can apply them. So I was already telling you an example where I was thinking, I would like to learn a language. Why do I want to learn a language? Or which one? Well, I want to learn language based on where I'm at. And that is my company is doing business in China. And I found out that within the culture, Chinese people like, and it looks good when I spend enough time to learn their language, because it helps me to many times to say a joke in Chinese, where people then, can get to know me better. So based on this, I learned Chinese, that I was able to apply it in my company, and it brought me extra income. Now, of course, in the past, for example, I was thinking about learning German, but I had nowhere to apply it. So Chinese was a good thing. Another good thing to learn for me was speed reading. Now, speed reading is sort of obsolete, where now you can send AI the whole book, and then it can just give you a summary about the main thoughts that are relevant. But also speed reading is good for being able to absorb fast a lot of text. And so I learned it with the 1-2-3 method. If you're interested, let me know. But it's a very interesting method because I went from 250 words to 900 with standard 80-90% comprehension. And it was a skill that actually helped me across in various areas in life. And again, it helped me to absorb information quickly and to generate better income. So when you look at it like this, the segment 3 talks about the skill, how to learn something fast. But while digging into it, I realized it's way more important to learn again, to ask the right questions, and also parallel with it, to learn how to use AI. Because AI together with these questions will help you to learn anything really, really fast. That's almost unimaginable. Now, you have to take into consideration the various areas where you can apply these skills and what results it can have. And all of this also is dictated by how you are doing yourself financially. Now, when I look at it like this, it actually looks pretty complicated. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, it's a lot of information. So every time there's a lot of information, I try to visualize it better. So what I did is I use this interpretation. So for learning, if you imagine this red rod that it's rotating like this, and every skill that you learn is like a special wheel on it that adds to the power that this is spinning. But of course, so that's, the skill. Now, the fourth segment, which is about the how to earn, about the hunting areas, I used little cubes. So you can view this stack of cubes as the career within a company, or as the company is growing. So every field, you're going this way, up, up, up. And with regards to money, you can look at it as a huge tank where, to get to this part, that's to cover your monthly cost of living. Now, until you have this covered, don't care about anything else, but only how to get this covered. Then the next area is how to generate enough so that you can have 6 months worth of costs saved up and ready. Then how to have money prepared for investment. So these visual interpretations really help me. So this is the third segment, how to learn something fast. The middle one is about the various environments that I am at. And this is the interpretation for my savings and money collection. Now, to go more into detail, look at it this way, right? So you have the environment. Now, every environment has specific needs. In some environments, you should be quiet. In some environments, you should speak a lot. In some environments, you should be only pass through. In some environments, you are responsible for the environments and for everything that's happening there. Now, what's really nice about it that, when you, for example, imagine that this cube represents your work. So you are at work, and the workplace, the work environment has certain specifics, and these specifics. Now I also added these two spheres as the representation of the first and second segment, how to perceive reality and how to be healthy. So because you have to have these in top conditions to even enter the space, and once you're in the space, you have to realize what's happening there. If you analyze the position, just like in chess, right? In chess, you have to know the position, you have to be a functional brain, so that's the segment 1 and 2. And then you have to look at the position, analyze it. What's the dynamic of the position? And then based on that, that's how you should behave in this position. Because let me see if I can fix it. Yeah. Okay, if I can fix it. Yeah. So in this position, the way the visual interpretation, and again, the visual interpretation is not about if it's correct or not, but it's a visual interpretation that helps you and makes it easier for you to visualize the principles that we are talking about. So imagine that this is your life energy. This is spinning, right? I'm putting energy into this space where you are. And these are the skills that you are also applying in this space. And based on how effective you are, this generates income for you. This generates income for you. Well, let me fix it. This generates income for you. So however you act or what skills you apply in this environment, based on how you do it, it generates now or in the future, it generates income for you. Now, going back to the career ladder, you can see that each level within the company or within your virtual career, because each section could be with a different employer, it requires different skills, and it also generates different energy, different income from each environment. And this to make it really visually simple, you can see that this is the environment. I added the red circle over here that represents the skill that you are applying in this environment, and based on that, from this environment you generate energy that some of it goes to you. And so this way you can visualize the let's say your career ladder, because this way you can look at let's say the person above you, the manager, what responsibilities he has, what skills they have, what's the dynamic of their environment. And that can give you a good indication of what skills to learn so that you can move up. And in order to what to learn, you can use AI to describe the environment where you are located. You can describe AI the skills that you have. It can test you in the quality of skills, and it can then tell you what skills to learn to move level up. But of course, level up is not only simple level up, but when you have in big companies, you have various career ladders. You have some that are higher. Beside that, you can have a short one, and you have also independent ones, and each has a different set of rules, how these environments operate, and also they have different needs for skills that you should apply in those. Now again, this is not how every single company is, but it gives you a frame of mind how to look at the environment around you and where you are located and what's needed in order to choose what skill to learn for each environment and how to apply it. Now this gets even more complicated because you can see that several, structures are being interconnected. So you can be in a certain company where now you have no space to grow. So then you move into another company, to a second level, where you learn and move up. And here you find out that you can cross to another company thanks to various experiences that you gained over in this company. Now, what I'm saying is that this becomes even more complicated because these cubicle structures could be part of a bigger structure. So you can imagine that this whole cube is a company that has a set of rules how it should operate. But within it has various other environments and roles which have different skills and different ways of functioning and being interconnected. And of course, this company is part of an even bigger system, which is called, let's say, a country or an industry. And it has its various other dynamics and its details, how it operates. So through this whole concept, you should be viewing the reality. Also, you must not forget that also it's relevant to time. In some environments, you work, and you don't generate any income. But because you work there, it helps you to connect into another environment. In another environment, you work for 3 days, and then it generates some income. So it's extremely dynamic, and you should look at the whole thing around you through the optics and the filter of various environments. What's needed in those environments, what skills are needed in those environments, how it will change me if I learn this skill. Does it help me only in this environment or also in the other environments? And altogether, is it generating enough income so that I have my needs covered and everything else? Now, you can see that this is almost like a huge 4D chess. Time, everything's interconnected, and it becomes extremely hard to actually orient yourself in it. And that's again why I would recommend segment 1, which teaches you how to be in flow and how to actually effectively flow through this maze in life. And friends, this was the main idea of this workshop, that in order to learn something fast, it's more important than learning the technique is to find out where you want to apply it. But then when I say where you want to apply it, you have to look at it, what you get from this place. Now, why would you be oriented on what you get? You should go back to the financial ladder to find out where you are in life. And you should realize that until you cover your monthly costs and you have 6 months worth of costs saved up, you shouldn't be doing anything else. You shouldn't be going out. You shouldn't be meeting people. You shouldn't be starting a family, because you are not able to survive in the reality. And you need always a cover in case something comes up or something stops. And so as I said, all of it is interconnected. And again, I'm really excited that I was able to put together these first 5 segments. But because just by applying everything that's being mentioned here, and I think that it can really help you in life. And in fact, I'm really feel good about it because I know that it's universal. Because when I look at these 5 segments, if you have any human being, they have to understand where they are, that like what country they're in and what's expected from them. They have to understand the model. Some call it Christianity, some call it Buddhism, some call it atheism, some call it Islam, but they have to need a model of life. They need to be healthy. And once they have this together, they need to learn skills so they can apply them in reality, so they can hunt something and survive. These are the 5 most important segments, because without them, you are not able to survive in this reality. And this is what Entrypoint Academia is about. What's in the future. So again, I will probably have to redo this logo, but we have how to perceive reality, we have how to perceive health, we have how to perceive learning, we have how to perceive, what do I have here? Monetization, yeah, how to work, how to earn, how to hunt, and then how to perceive money. And in the future, and hopefully it will not take me another year, but I want to talk about how to communicate with others, how to choose a life partner, and how to raise and educate your children. And this will cover these 3 segments until we get to politics. And again, all of this is part of Entrypoint philosophy that I live by every day. And I live by it not because I force myself, because I find it that the less I force myself, the more I live like Entrypoint human being. So that's why I call it Entrypoint lifestyle. So if you're interested in how to apply it in your life, I'm actually designing right now a 30-day plan where you can test it for yourself and see after 30 days if your life changes, your life experience changes or not. So again, thank you for all your support. Thank you for being interested in Entrypoint Academia. If you want to find out more, check out the links in the description to this video, and feel free to contact me if you want to apply it in your life. So see you soon. Bye-bye.